The field. Every neighborhood has one. Grass, concrete, or dirt. The stage is the same. The rules, unwavering. And the goals, beautiful.
It goes in! Improbable scenes!
It's where the dream begins to achieve the ultimate victory.
The underdogs have prevailed once again!
One cup, open to all.
There is a celebration in Orlando.
Now, America's oldest soccer tournament is back.
Oh, it's incredible!
The field doesn't care if you're a pro or trying to be one. It only asks, how bad do you want it?
It's unbelievable!
The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Tonight from Austin, Texas, it is the round of 16 of the 2023 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup from Q2 Stadium. It is Austin FC playing host to the Chicago Fire. With Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us. Yesterday, we started with 16 teams left in this competition. A few less now with Houston, LA, Miami, and Cincinnati moving through. But the winner of our game tonight in the Central region will play host to the Houston Dynamo in the quarterfinal stage. And looking at some players to watch for Austin FC, they have a strong lineup tonight. It's anchored by Danny Pereira in the middle.
And it's going to be a big challenge for the young man in terms of just the balance, when to step forward, but also when to do his defensive duties. If you're Josh Wolf, you want him on the ball early and often, dictating tempo and getting confidence within the side.
And on the other side for the Chicago Fire, Brian Gutierrez, a young star for this Fire team.
And such a special player, Josh. The ability to beat you 1v1 combination play. He's going to start on the left-hand side, but make no mistake about it. He's going to have the freedom to roam, so look for him to join the attack as he sees fit. He needs to be extremely active, asking a lot of questions of Austin FC for Chicago Fire to have a chance here tonight.
Looking at our starting lineups tonight for Austin, 4 changes from that 1-0 win over the weekend. As for the Fire, 3 changes from the 3-3 draw with Atlanta.
And for Austin FC, it all comes down to those front 3, Rigoni, Zardes, and Redis. How quickly can they get on the same page and get comfortable within the back line of Chicago Fire? And then for Chicago Fire, Shaqiri and Kamara. That relationship, as Kamara's going to stay high, he's going to occupy the center back, Shaqiri, get him in those half pockets, testing and asking a lot of questions of Austin FC and that back line.
And with that, we are just about set for kickoff here tonight. There's the whistle, and away we go. And it's the Chicago Fire in white. And in those green tops, or verde as they like to call it in these parts, it is Austin FC. Thanks so much for being with us here on the BR app, the BR Football YouTube page. The first ever competitive meeting between these two sides. As we talked to both coaches this week, they said they have faced in preseason, but there's nothing like a competitive match with plenty on the line here tonight, which is what we get on a beautiful night at Q2 Stadium, and always a great atmosphere here in Austin as well. Of course, to get into this round, it was a 2-1 win for the Chicago Fire, taking down MLS opposition in St. Louis City in the round of 32. On the other side, a 2-0 win for Austin here at home against New Mexico. And Pereira coming forward, he shouldered off the ball, but it's an early set piece upcoming for Austin FC.
And he just gives this Austin side a different look going forward. The ability to pick up passes, but just so underrated. The ability to drive with the ball at his feet. Takes the contact there from Navarro through the backside, goes down. Right start here for Austin FC. A dangerous set piece about 20 yards out, 25 yards.
It took Austin about 90 minutes to score that goal against Toronto over the weekend. 90+1. It was Jassy Zardes. Maybe they can start tonight a little bit quicker than they did the other night. Rigoni stands over it. 3-man wall for Chicago. Rigoni just wide. Boy, he had Richie scrambling across the goal mouth, and he wasn't far away.
And he hits it extremely well, up and over the wall with a lot of whip and a lot of power on it. Just bends it. Great look at it here. You see the wall split open. That's something you don't want to happen if you're Richie. Once again, bright start for Josh Wolf and the home side.
Were you the guy that stood in the wall?
Never.
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 Got to protect that pretty face.
No, I'm kidding. Through my height, I was always the guy at the end of the wall. Didn't like it.
I had a feeling as a taller guy you would be. Spencer Ritchie, another start in goal tonight. He has been the preferred starter for Chicago through their Open Cup run. Of course, it started with a win over crosstown rival Chicago House, and then, as we mentioned last round, against St. Louis City. That was the first game for head coach Frank Klopas in charge after the club parted way with Ezra Hendrickson. And now all three coaches on the bench, Frank Klopas, CJ Brown, Zach Thornton, they were all part of the 1998 Cup-winning team for the Chicago Fire. Of course, Frank Klopas scored the game-winning goal against the Crew that year. As this is moved out wide, the cross coming in, it's immediately cut out. And of course, we'll get into more of it as the game goes on, but Josh Wolf was also very much part of that team for the Chicago Fire.
And it's sloppy in the back here from Austin FC. You just see how expansive Chicago Fire is. Shaqiri does extremely well just to let this play develop. Navarro comes around the corner, but you want someone crashing that near post. It's a lot of pressure on the opposing back line. How clean can you be if you're Austin FC playing out of the back? That's something that Josh Wolf talked to us. Ability to break that initial press.
Shaqiri lofting this one in, still bouncing around, it's clear in front. The flag came up for offside. A chance there though, right in front of goal for Gutierrez.
Winning your individual battles on set pieces are going to be extremely important in this match. Gutierrez just wanders a bit offside, a bit too eager. Good on him to get himself in a dangerous situation. Just goes wide.
There is Frank Klopas, of course, just a few matches in charge now. His first match in charge in this go-around as the head man for the Chicago Fire was that first Open Cup game. He was named the head coach or the interim head coach just a day before that match. Came out and won it 2-1. Really good performance there at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview. Now a few more matches under their belt, and what a topsy-turvy game it was over the weekend against Atlanta United. 3-3 was the final score in that one. Kutsia scoring late on to salvage a point there for the Fire. The foul will go against Austin here.
It's going to be a big challenge here for Chicago Fire the first 5 to 10 minutes. Really weathering this storm, get on the ball a bit more, get the confidence within the side. You want Jimenez and Navarro, the two players in the center of the park, to really dictate tempo. And that front four is just so special. If you give them the time and space between lines on the half turn. Talked about Gutierrez, Shaqiri, Navarro, those three players get on the same page. It's going to be a very long night for that back line of Austin FC.
Pressure right in front of Frank Klopas. Suke gets right back up and puts it in play. Just one change for Chicago from the round of 32 match against St. Louis, with Rafael Schihos coming back into the squad. It's Wyatt Omsberg who misses out tonight. Of course, it's always so interesting to see how these coaches approach games in the U.S. Open Cup, especially with fixture congestion. A midweek match last week, a midweek match next week. So it'll be 4 straight weeks for both of these teams, and even more for Austin with midweek matches. Josh Wolf said, though, we're going to roll out a good squad. We're using our squad. We're not going into Austin FC2 to try to make up some numbers. And I think both teams have put out very, very solid teams here tonight. Salasi trying to weave through. It was his goal in the opening 3 minutes. They got Chicago started in the last round, but he's taken off the ball here. And Rigoni can drive forward, trying to go through the legs of Suke. And he closed that 5-hole.
And going back to a conversation with both head coaches, Josh, it's really interesting. Both of them said the same thing. The most important game is the next game. Obviously, coming into the Open Cup, we talked about how many games these players have under the legs in a short amount of time. But these coaches are taking this cup extremely serious. You love to see the talent that's on display here. It's interesting for Austin FC, the way that they're setting up defensively. Pereira stepping into a line higher, so that leaves Valencia isolated on an island right in front of that back line for Austin FC. So if you're Chicago Fire, if you can play off of his shoulders in those soft pockets, those half spaces, there's going to be a lot of room to operate in.
Shaqiri decides to use a stiff arm there. Now he lofts it forward for Kamara, who is fouled. It's a free kick for Chicago. Some physicality in the opening few minutes.
That's a really good challenge there from Vaisinen. Makes all of the ball right in front of the referee. Seeing how physical it's been. Valencia doing extremely well. I think him, the ability to turn and double down on that back line is going to be extremely important for Austin FC. You have Kai Kamara, big physical number 9 that likes to drop down balls down, bring players in defensively. It's a big challenge for Austin FC.
Gutierrez and Shaqiri are standing over this. Shaqiri, the in-swinger. This bounces. A diving attempt there by Kamara. And just a bit too far out in front for the big man.
It's a brilliant ball in from Shaqiri. You never want a ball bouncing inside your 18-yard box if you're Austin FC, because Conte is caught between two minds. Doesn't peek over his shoulder. Fortunate enough for him, Kai Kamara, unable to anticipate, get on the end of it.
Zardes tripped up. He scored in that game against Toronto over the weekend. Also scored last week against the Sounders. So 2 games on the trot with goals for Jesse Zardes. It's been interesting, this Austin team. Go all the way back into March when they bowed out of Champions League after the round of 16. After that, they went 7 winless. And now these last 4 games in all competitions, 3 wins out of 4. You really start to feel like they're starting to get things back on track. And Josh Wolf said it's good to see the performances now come out with some results. He says the performances have been good throughout, but maybe the results just weren't following.
And it's just validation for the players to say, look, what we want to do here at Austin FC really works. Talk about the success that they had last year. The question mark coming to 2023 was, can they implement that? Can we do the same thing? Obviously, we talked about the failure in Champions League, great ball in, but it's all about the reaction for Josh Wolf. And he said, we're staying to our same principles. We're putting out the same ideas for these young men, but can they get the results? And so far, they've been doing that. And that's all you can ask for, confidence, rhythm. And so far, 10 minutes in, you're starting to see how good they are in picking those half spaces up.
A really impressive performance last week going to Seattle. As you see Josh Wolf there, of course, his 3rd year in charge of this club. They're starting to get things back on track. There is no doubt about it. Back to that form from a year ago, which brought them up towards the top of the Western Conference, although it's tough to beat out an LAFC side that is absolutely flying and kept that rolling into this year, although they bowed out of this competition last night. Rigoni just forgot something behind him. El Selassie now, he runs out of space.
The Chicago Fire extremely compact and disciplined in their mid to low block. Going to make life extremely difficult for Austin FC. Talking to Josh Wolf, he said one of the keys are just changing the point of attack. You have Lundqvist, you have Gallagher. I like to stay high and wide. That puts a lot of pressure on the outside back of the Chicago Fire to make decisions.
Laid down the line, Rigoni, first time ball in. It bounces once, and now the Fire can get this away and under their control.
We just talked about the wide players. Lundqvist with the dangerous ball in, and Gallagher making that far post run. But as those outside backs for the Fire have to make a decision whether they stay compact into the interior or they go out and face up the individual wing backs, there's going to leave gaps between lines. That's where you start to see a Redis, a Rigoni and support Zardes on the other side for Chicago Fire. How compact can you be defensively? And when you force a turnover, you have to play direct and play it extremely quick.
The referee, Alex Chilowitz, will have to stop play here. It's Miguel Navarro who is down there on the far side.
It's an awkward coming together between him and Gallagher. There's no ill will there.
Frank Klopas can go to the tactics board here and talk things over with Xherdan Shaqiri, who gets his second straight start in the U.S. Open Cup. There's a lot of talk around the Fire about how he would be utilized, whether you keep him centrally, whether you move him out to the wing. And of course, with Jairo Torres now starting to come back into the fold a little bit, he's played over the last few games now for the Fire. What's the relationship going to be between those two? Torres available off the bench tonight.
You talk about Gutierrez as well, the ability to play in that soft pocket, number 10, 7, whatever you want to utilize him as. So that relationship under Kai Kamara is going to be very important to the success for Chicago Fire, creating opportunities going forward. We talked about the ability to have secondary actions, whether it's getting in behind and stretching the opposition or just coming underneath and giving a support system for Kai Kamara. So finding that balance within the front four for Frank Klopas' boys is going to be really important here.
Already one game in the books tonight, and how about a cup set as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds have taken out the Columbus Crew Golden Ill at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh. Albert Dequa just continues to get it done for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. The Crew go home, and the Riverhounds will head to Cincinnati. Now a USL team has made it to the quarterfinal stage every year since 2016. Shout out to Devin Kerr. He just gave me that stat a few minutes ago. I cite my sources, Ricky.
There you go. No plagiarizing here.
No. Zardes and Rigoni. Herrera trying to keep it. The referee says play on. Gutierrez. Shaqiri. Pineda is fresh off a contract extension signed today with the Chicago Fire. Mauricio Pineda signed his homegrown contract in 2020. His fourth season with the Fire now out of University of North Carolina.
Really good pressure there from Austin FC, forcing turnovers within that back line of Chicago Fire. That was another key that Josh Wolf talked to us, trying to force them into silly mistakes higher up the field. So once we force turnovers, we have a more advanced position. You start to see as Zardes pushes high, it's Rigoni and Reddits that come with him.
Shihos is fouled this time by Zardes. Of course, we mentioned this is the first time these two teams are ever playing, which means it's the first time that Josh Wolf is coaching against the Chicago Fire, a club that he spent quite a bit of time with. And of course, he won the Open Cup with them in 1998 and 2000, was part of that team with everybody on the bench tonight in terms of the coaching staff. Frank Klopas, CJ Brown, Zach Thornton. He spoke very highly about Frank Klopas and what he means to soccer in Chicago. And he was just 21 years of age when Frank Klopas was 32 when they won that 98 Open Cup. So he took him under his wing. And Wolf blossomed into a great player himself. It was Klopas who scored that game winner in 98. As this is floated in, it's Kamara. First real chance of the game for Chicago, but taken quite easily there by Stuver.
But it starts with breaking this pressure of Austin FC, changing the point of attack, and then it's Shaqiri getting in these pockets of space, head up, just technique. The backspin on it. Kamara Just mistimes his leap just a tiny bit, unable to get enough power on it. We just see as Austin FC tries to step up the field and force turnovers within that back line for Chicago Fire, that secondary line needs to come with them. Pereira steps up, Valencia's just hanging around. That's why you start to see the Fire have the ability to pick up their head and break, get into attacking phases quickly. You just see how deep Zardes is dropping into that midfield third. For Austin FC, you need someone to be able to make that run in behind to pull out a center back for Chicago Fire and stretch this game. It's always having that cat and mouse mentality to come short to go long, or vice versa, especially as a striker.
John Gallagher with the foul. Has changed positionally since his college days, but 4 goals so far this year. He still has that attacking mindset, if you will, as the outside wing back for this Austin FC side.
Not many times have we seen him make just a trailing run and have an exquisite finish to the back post. Just gives this Austin FC a different threat going forward.
Fall for Shakir, and he quickly plays it in behind. Haile Selassie running forward. He tries to cut this all the way through. It's Kamara. Ring came up with the block. Kamara is still trying to keep this alive. Still no whistle from the referee. Pereira all the way into the corner now. In the end, it'll be a throw-in for Austin. Good defensive effort there.
And Haile Selassie has been so active, getting himself in that final third off the shoulder of Aisinen, and then it's his cutback ball. Austin FC is in emergency mode, so they're retreating towards their goal line. Kamara understands that, just holds his run a bit, unable to get the shot, but give credit to Pereira, doing his defensive duties on the ball. Center midfielder, so deep in his defensive half, went to throw in. But you just see the ability to get Shaqiri in those half pockets, stretch the game with the pace of Haile Selassie.
Misplayed ball there, which means it's a throw-in. Switch of play for Shaqiri. Has to step around a challenge. Too much there from Lundqvist. And a free kick to the Fire once again.
Just gets caught lunging in. Lundqvist here. You know, Shaqiri prefers that left foot. Little drop of the shoulder to create separation. He makes the most of it. Experience. It's a very dangerous set piece.
It's Shaqiri to serve it in again. And Stuver backpedaling, but he's able to control it. Well, how about an update from Birmingham, Alabama? Prosper Kasim has gotten Birmingham Legion on the board first now against 10-man Charlotte FC. Malanda, who's given a second yellow card in the 51st minute. Birmingham scoring about 10 minutes later. Could be up for 2 cup sets so far in our first 2 games tonight.
And it's the beauty of the Open Cup, Josh. You ask any player, organization, the head coach, just an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for, to showcase yourself. Talk about the motivation factor that comes in when a USL Championship side hosts an MLS side. You have the fans behind them, hostile environment, so it's so good to see. Like Tommy Soneside can hold on, probably already wrote in pen himself in the final 8.
Of course, the winner of that game will host Inter Miami in the quarterfinal stage in a few weeks' time. So run all the way out of play. It's going to be a throw-in deep in that corner for Chicago.
It's just no movement on the front line for Austin. Valencia picks up his head. Zardes is staying high. Rigoni and Redis not making darting runs underneath him to create space from each other. It's a wayward pass, and now Austin FC is trying to squeeze in Chicago Fire in that far corner. Good
Play
ball.
right through the lines. Zardes holds play up. Now it's Pereira. Lundqvist. Circle it around. Väisänen will lift it in this time. Pineda with the clearing header as far as Valencia. And now Gutierrez, space to drive forward. Instead, he'll switch the point of attack. El Selassie will drop it off for Shaqiri.
Been very sound in terms of Chicago Fire's approach to this match defensively, mid to low block, very clogging the center channel, trying to force Austin to play around them. And when they regain possession of the ball, how quickly they change a point of attack with El Selassie. Stays high and wide. Give this side an outlet. Shaqiri has the ability to roam. Frank Klopas, 24 minutes in, you have to be extremely pleased with your side.
Again, touched out wide. This time Suke will stride forward. Suke hit Shaqiri and he kind of tumbles over.
It's an awkward ball there from Suke. Shaqiri a bit frustrated.
And this is broken up on the far side. Wants to play this infield. It's Kamara somehow getting a shot away. It's right at Stuver, who's able to make the save.
You never want to play a square ball, especially when you're 35 yards out of your own box. Navarro sees it. I think this ball is intended to bypass Kai Kamara. The first touch underneath him doesn't get as cleanly as he would like to strike. We just see how opportunistic the experienced forward is. Willing to sniff out a half opportunity and test Stuver there.
All right, gets tangled up. Valencia, free kick right at midfield.
He's just always an outlet to relieve pressure. Kai Kamara is. First look from Shaqiri is always forward into the big man. The ability to hold up the ball, bring players in. So special for the Fire.
There's Shaqiri. Again, serving this in behind. It's El Selassie! And a big save from Brad Stuver. Well, El Selassie got the scoring started for Chicago in the last round. He nearly does the same tonight.
And we talked about his positioning, just causing all sorts of nightmares. Check on the back end, the run off the shoulder of Lundqvist, and it's that first touch that cuts off the outside back. Lundqvist needs to make a decision. Do I let him go if I try to play on this ball? El Selassie's going to go down. Well, what a massive save that is from Stuver. El Selassie hits it so well. Big time save to keep this thing 0-0.
Tierra is just about ready to deliver. Gutierrez, the service, the header looping in! It's Rafael Schihos to score the opener! The Chicago Fire lead at Austin!
In a cup tournament, it's all about moments. Who's going to be more clinical? Set pieces are such an important moment. Schihos gets away there from Väisänen and then makes no mistake about this header. Just towers up, looping to that back post. Stuver can't react quick enough. Off to the corner to celebrate. Chicago Fire have their goal in this first half.
Rafael Schijos, the big center back. That's actually his third U.S. Open Cup goal. He scored 2 last year in the game they were eliminated by Union Omaha. So he gets his first this year. It's his third goal in all competitions here in 2023. And the Chicago Fire have the opener on the road.
And it's a frustrating one for Josh Wolf. Set pieces, it's all about having the will to win your individual battles. Schijos gets away there from Baisinen. What a terrific header. So now it's all about the reaction from the home side. Try to nick one before halftime. Not really threatening. Richie in that goal for Chicago Fire. So we need to start clicking going forward for Austin FC.
And of course, we mentioned Frank Klopas when he took over. His first game in charge was the U.S. Open Cup match against St. Louis City. And he was very clear when he spoke with the media ahead of that game. He said, we take this very seriously. We have 3 guys that have won the U.S. Open Cup on our staff. And he said the goal is to make the playoffs, compete in this competition. But it really feels like this is a competition they are taking seriously. They've won it 4 times, last coming in 2006. I think Frank Klopas would like nothing more than to be able to lift this trophy.
And you play the game just to win and win trophies. And Open Cup gives you the best opportunity, the quickest opportunity to host a trophy at the end of this tournament. Having the success and the history that the Chicago Fire do in this event, see why they take it so serious. And so far, 29 minutes in, so good for Frank Klopas.
And a great story on ussoccer.com from Jonah Fontella about when Frank Klopas scored the winning goal in 1998, coming off the bench, scoring into the 99th minute. He said he jumped over the advertising boards, and he said he was surprised the screws in his knee didn't break. But he was wheeling away in celebration, which turned out to be the winning goal for a Chicago Fire team that really has gone down in history. When you look at the players on that team, so many of them are coaches nowadays. Plenty of star power on that team, and it was right after they had won MLS Cup just a week before. They had to move the final that year. It was supposed to be in Virginia. There was a big hurricane that came in. They had to leave town. They rescheduled it for after MLS Cup. They played it at Soldier Field, and Chicago Fire won the double that year.
We talk about the relationship between Frank Klopas and Josh Wolf. Our college, Josh Wolf was really funny. He said, I used to carry his gear. I was a rookie there, so I had to do the rookie duties, carrying the dirty shin guards, the cleats, the bibs, the uniforms from Frank Klopas. And it was something that just talks about the relationship between the 2 managers here tonight.
He said he actually stayed at his house for some time as well, which I thought it was very interesting. So those 2 definitely have a deeper relationship than just being 2 opposing coaches tonight.
And once again, Josh, you just see how vulnerable through the lines Austin FC is. That front line steps higher. There's no secondary movement within that midfield line to join and keep everything compact. Shaqiri's having a field day, just picking up his head and breaking lines in terms of his passing range.
On the way back for Richie, who sweeps this away. Again, Richie can come and claim this. Remember, the winner of this game will host the Houston Dynamo in the next round after they took out Minnesota United 4-0. Corey Baird, a hat trick last night in Houston. Of course, Dynamo winners in 2018 of this competition. is Adam Lundqvist, who was part of that winning team in 2018 during his 5 seasons with Houston. Foul behind the play as El Selassie was cut down.
It's a clear trigger for Austin FC. Once this ball rotates to these outside backs, for Chicago Fire, you want to hunt, and you want to hunt in numbers. Lundqvist just a bit too late. Selassie gets it before him, goes down. Once again, Josh, just take a look at your screen. Just a gap between lines. Valencia's on an island right in front of the back 3 for Austin FC. On the other side, this man here, Navarro, as well, isolated. That's a single pivot within that midfield line for Chicago Fire. So if you can get him to step off of his line, there's going to be a lot of joy in terms of success. We play into Zardes and have players come underneath him and support system.
Free kick here for Austin. This ball driven forward. The heads go up, and the header wasn't too far away. Flag was up for offside anyway.
We talked about set pieces when things aren't clicking for you on the offensive side. Good ball in. Conte just goes up and over. Suke there.
Good start here on the road for Chicago, and they'll have to get used to being some road warriors. 6 of their next 7 games will be on the road. The next 3 games after this at New England, Toronto, and Cincinnati. Then they're home, and then at Portland, SKC, and Orlando. All over the country will go the Chicago Fire over the next month plus. It could be a home game mixed in there if they're able to win this one here tonight and host Houston in the next round. Another foul in the middle. Cascante stepping forward.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. As Valencia steps up and leaves the big gap going forward, that's just center back right on top of the circle inside your attacking half. There's no business stepping that high when his other defenders are about 20 yards behind him. That needs to be Valencia sitting right in front to give that security blanket to break up those plays going back across for Chicago Fire. Kamara is just so good at inviting pressure, making the most of it, slowing the game down. At the moment, Chicago Fire is not in any rush. They have their lead, especially in this first half.
We've talked about fixture congestion, which is why so many coaches have rotated quite a bit. And of course, there were some changes from the weekend, 4 for Austin and 3 for Chicago. But a lot of those big name players, as Xherdan Shaqiri and Emiliano Rigoni, players of that stature, playing in this game here tonight, shows you the intention of both of these teams wanting to advance on. Shaqiri going to ping this out wide. On the chase is Gutierrez. He's not able to keep that alive. Throw in Austin.
It's a good idea there from Shaqiri. He sees the overload on the far side with Gutierrez, and Navarro coming around the corner, just overhits it. It's interesting the way that Chicago Fire's floating into different shapes offensively and defensively. Offensively, you see Jimenez step up to a line higher next to Shaqiri, Gutierrez, and El Selassie to make a line of 4. Once again, there's one single pivot, which is Navarro in front of that back 4. So you want Redes, you want Rigoni, if you're Josh Wolf, to test and to come into the interior, because you have those wing backs that provide the width. Always creating overloads and numerical advantages in every single channel of the field is going to be key.
Always a good atmosphere and good support here at Q2 Stadium in Austin. Tonight, no different. Some pressure coming from behind. A foul and a free kick going Austin's way. Of course, in the last round was the first ever Open Cup win for this Austin FC side. Last year, bowing out of the competition to San Antonio on the road, the eventual USL Championship winners. Losing that game 2-1. Able to take down USL Championship opposition here in 2023 in the last round, New Mexico United.
If you look at the bottom of your screen right here, just Rigoni has an acre of space right in front of that back line of Chicago Fire. It's exactly what I'm talking about. If you have the ability to find him, to get him on the half turn, cause a lot of problems for Chicago Fire. So it all comes about drawing out a Navarro out of his position.
Not much going forward for Chicago since scoring that goal. Challenge there in the middle, but play on, says the referee. This is cut out by Suke. It'll be out for a corner kick.
This could have been really bad here between Navarro and Valencia. Good to see both of them get back on their own power. And on the other side, you see Zardes coming in, and then it's Rigoni making that darting run. We haven't seen that pattern of play enough for Austin FC. In a very dangerous set piece here.
Here comes the in-swinger. It's Kai Kamara who is up for it. Markfist trying to keep it alive. He lost his footing, and now Chicago off to the races. Haile Selassie just about able to keep it. Now trying to turn the corner. It's a hopeful ball forward. It's taken by Stuver.
But it's so good there from Gallagher not to dive in. Stay like for like, stride for stride with Haile Selassie. Force them to force a turnover, make a silly decision. Could have been a very dangerous transition moment for the visitors.
Austin just trying to get their playmakers on the ball however possible. Pereira. Here's Ring. Vaisinen looks to have gone down here. Bottom part of the screen. Slipped in behind it, took a deflection. Will be taken. Vaisinen is down, and the referee will stop play.
We just see how active Haile Selassie is when he has green grass to operate in. Moments ago, we saw a player dive in and pick up a silly challenge here. Gallagher does extremely well. Reads the body language, never puts in a silly leg. And then forces a turnover. That's individual 1v1 defending.
if we can find out what happened to Väisänen. You don't like to see that non-contact.
It just goes down very awkwardly. I think it's that last step before he plays the ball. Such a big part of what Austin FC does on the defensive side of the ball. Very good in possession as well. The ability to pick out a pass. Such a value that he brings for Josh Wolf aside to kickstart the attacking phase of the game.
I hope Väisänen is okay. Of course, Zan Kolmanic has already been lost for the season due to a torn ACL. He suffered in mid-April. Recently just brought in Alexander Radovanovic on loan from a club in Belgium. Good to see him jogging off, or at least trying to here. Last few minutes here before halftime. Expect probably a few minutes of stoppage time will be added now. It's lofted forward and looking for Shaqiri. Runs out of play. Birmingham still holding on against Charlotte FC. Game in the 87th minute now. Of course, still one more game to come up tonight. Colorado and Real Salt Lake, two Rocky Mountain clubs going at it. It's 3 minutes of stoppage time added on at the end of this first half. For Zardes, he was brought down, free kick. And again, you pointed out many times, him checking back just to receive the ball.
Just so much space off the shoulder of Navarro. Whether it's Rigoni or Redis, getting in those half pockets to ask questions of the shape for Chicago Fire. It's the second time now we've seen Zardes pop in, draw a foul. Again, there needs to be a secondary action, just a player running underneath him or running in behind and stretching this back line for Chicago Fire. If you ask Shihos and Pineda, everything has been in front of them. It's been extremely easy. 46 minutes in, just shifting from left to right, not really facing and going towards their goal. So that's something that Josh Wolf even pointed out to us, Josh, the ability to stretch the game, to make darting runs, to get in behind the space.
Rigoni lofts this in, the header's down, and it's pushed away. Spencer Ritchie, really his first call to action tonight. And it's all for naught, though, as the flag is up for offside.
There's a lot of pace on this ball. Rigoni closes his hips, Cascante just rises up. A lot of power and a lot of pace. Make sure Ritchie is awake. Not sure where the offside looked like. Maybe it's started a bit deeper. Cascante there with the second opportunity that he's got on the end of a set piece. Such a dangerous threat. Dead ball situations, we've seen his aerial presence.
All the way back to Stuver. Here's Pereira. Coming right through the middle, long ball over the top, just headed away. It's Rigoni running in behind. Now Pereira can look upfield. Slide it out wide. Lundqvist the cross. Cleared out. It looks like a corner kick coming for Austin right at the end of this first half.
But once again, it just comes through players popping up into a more advanced position. This time it's Pereira as his ball sprays wide to Lundqvist. Chihos does extremely well.
Here comes the corner, and this one flicked away. And that will be the end of this first 45 minutes. Will Chicago able to score on a set piece? Rafael Chihos in the 27th minute. And that's it through this first half.
I think if you're Frank Klopas, you can't ask for a better first half. Defensively extremely sound. You get your goal on a set piece, but for Austin FC, you need to get Rigoni and Redis in those half pockets. I keep harping on the spacing between them off the shoulder of Navarro. We saw it moments ago. They get an opportunity. Get Lundqvist, you get Gallagher more involved in that attacking third. It's going to be extremely interesting this next 45 minutes to see the tactical changes from both of these managers.
We have hit halftime from Q2 Stadium in Austin, Texas. It's the Chicago Fire, 45 minutes away from the quarterfinals. Stay with us at halftime. Getting set for the second 45 minutes of action from Q2 Stadium as Chicago Fire lead 1-0 over Austin FC. And of course, Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We're getting down to the business end of it, the 108th edition, the oldest annual team sports tournament in the United States. We started with 100. We'll be at 8 by the end of the evening tonight. And of course, Orlando City, the defending champions, but they have already been knocked out of this year's competition. And looking at the bracket, that right side is now completely filled out with Pittsburgh and Birmingham getting wins tonight.
What an opportunity that is for Birmingham Legion just to host Inter Miami CF at Protective Stadium. And then you have, obviously, Pittsburgh taking down Columbus Crew as they go into FC Cincinnati. Just, that's what you want. Opportunity to showcase yourself against a higher opposition. Bob Lilly, Tommy Sohn, hats off to you guys.
So it is Pittsburgh and Birmingham moving on. And of course, Colorado Real Salt Lake to come up later on tonight. But looking back at this first 45 minutes, it started off with a foul and a really dangerous set piece here for Austin.
But it all comes just through the movement of the players in the center of the park, advancing themselves into the attacking third off the shoulder of Navarro. Probably the best opportunity here at Rigoni, up and over the wall, but just too much bend on it.
And then Shaqiri, he would be putting in some good service, but couldn't quite connect with Kai Kamara there. And then turnover opportunity, and Navarro was dangerous here.
Yeah, Kai Kamara, the first touch, unable to get his footing underneath, straight at Stuvert, but then Hel Selassie was so active, the ability to get into that final third, to stretch and ask questions. Brilliant first touch, even better save here from Stuvert, down to his right-hand side like a cat to put it out for a corner kick. And then here, this is the goal. Chihos beats Vaisinen up and over. What a towering header, loops it into that far post, Frank Klopas get their goal in that first 45 minutes.
So Chihos celebrates, and looking at the stats, well, Chicago's been very effective in front of goal with 4 of those 5 shots on target.
Yeah, they've been more threatening, asking questions of Stuvert, testing the shape of Austin FC. And for Josh Wolf, it all comes down to getting more numbers into the final third, having the creativeness to have the combination play, ask questions of Richie, test him, shoot at him. You don't score if you don't shoot, so look for them to be a bit more active on the front foot in this next 45 minutes.
Well, the teams back out on the field here for the second 45 minutes. The Fire 45 minutes away from a spot in the quarterfinal stage of this Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and it looks like 2 subs coming on at halftime. Sofian Jafal, Alexander Radovanovic will both be entering. First player off will be Johan Valencia, like-for-like sub, and then it is going to be Leo Vaisinen coming off. Saw him go down at the end of that first half, and I'm sure Josh Wolf not wanting to chance anything here tonight. So Radovanovic is on, along with Jafal. Only 2 subs here at halftime with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Josh Eastern. Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup round of 16 as we get this second half underway, and it's Kai Kamara just running right through Julio Cascante. Is it a block or a charge?
I think Cascante definitely thinks it's a charge. Kamara just does not hold up his run. Just continues right through Cascante.
I think his feet were set, Ricky. I think that's going the other way.
It's a charge right there.
It indeed is. It's going to be a free kick to Austin.
I think this is going to change for Austin. You're going to see Ring get into that midfield third a bit more. The ability to pick out passes, his passing range, his vision, really unlock the Chicago Fire back line. So Jafal Radovanovic, how quickly can they get the tempo? It's very difficult coming in at halftime. Talk about whether it's a warm-up as the game progresses, next 15 minutes when the players are inside the locker room. So Jafal Radovanovic, get the rhythm, then you start to express yourself, especially as you go higher up the field.
Here's Gallagher, long throw in, looking for that flick. It came, but it was quickly cleared. Gallagher again, looking for Zardes, who is jostling with Pineda. Foul against Ring, free kick Chicago.
Just makes the most of it there, Shaqiri. Extension of the arms from Ring. Not a lot. It is a foul. Shaqiri just so experienced, so clever.
Kamara couldn't keep it off his chest. A foul there as Austin tried to move forward, and this will be a yellow card on Pineda.
It's a play that you need to get more active if you're Austin FC. It comes to the interior, draws out Pineda. Very silly. No need to go into this challenge through the backside of Redes. It's facing away from goal into traffic. Now it's a big challenge for Mauricio Pineda on a yellow card right after halftime. Extremely disciplined in his positioning and the challenges that he decides to go into.
Breyer just played this short. Gallagher keeps it moving to the far side. Ball in by Lundqvist was blocked down. Kamara will chase this down in the corner. And it's right to Jesse Zardes. Some contact there in the area. Referee pointed to the ball and play on. Here's Jafal.
That ball falls to anyone other than Cascante, the center back inside that 18-yard box. It's a very different story. Fortunate enough for Chicago Fire. No man's land for the center back.
Gutierrez trying to maneuver upfield. Ring there to cut him off. Of course, this is an Austin side without their big-time player in Sebastian Driussi, who is still out injured. Josh Wolf saying he's probably still a few weeks away as well. They've been able to get some results over these last few weeks, going up to Seattle, getting a big win, and then able to follow that up with a win, a late win, if you will, this weekend against Toronto FC. 90+1 was Jesse Zardes to score in his second straight game for Austin.
We talked about having the connection through the back to front, playing in between lines, and Driussi is just that type of player. His ability to float in and out with the ball in the half turn, cause chaos, and really test the shape of opposition. So skillful in tight spaces. So if you're an Austin FC fan, you're hoping that he gets healthy extremely quick and can't wait to see him back on the pitch.
Ring opting to go long. Pineda able to cut that out. Ring will go all the way back to Stuver. Houston Dynamo await the winner of this one. Pineda tries to cut that out as Ritchie came flying off his line. Might work out for Chicago, but too much on that pass as it runs out of play.
It's interesting, we haven't seen Austin FC play Route 1. They get in behind and stretch out Chicago Fire. We talked about it in the first half, Josh. Everything has been in front of that back line for the visitors, making life extremely easy for the two center backs. Changing the point of attack, gives you the best side. The way that Fire, they like to press, they like to squeeze you towards one side of the field. So if you have the ability to pick up your head, go out the other side, there's going to be massive parts.
Gallagher. I cut this in fields. Here's Jafal. Pretty much everybody back defending for Chicago. Pereira. Loft this into the end line. The header to come back centrally. That's the decision here. Looks like a corner kick.
And whether it's Redis, whether it's Gallagher, getting in behind of Navarro, making him make decisions, isolating him on that left back position. Redis does extremely well, heads it off like the shoulder of Navarro. It all comes just through the vision and the passing range of Danny Pereira.
Rigoni delivers. The heads go up and the header comes right at Richie. Zardes was the one to get his head to it.
And it's so difficult to get enough power generated from this distance as you're backpedaling. Look to the goal from Shihos. He goes up and over. Causes confusion between that goalkeeper. That's straightforward there for Richie.
Trying to switch the play there for Suke on the far side. It runs out of play. Austin trying to get the crowd into it as well. We asked Josh Wolf about the atmosphere here at Q2 Stadium, the weather, the pitch. He said he wants it fast, he wants it hot and humid, and he says he wants it loud like it always is every game. Definitely use all of those variables to their advantage.
As they should. Really are the 12th man here. Every team that comes into this atmosphere, the hostile environment, always have to not only deal with the players on the field, but also the players on the other side of the touchlines.
Long switch of play, now getting to the end line. They stood up to the back post. Navarro able to head this away. Comes outside the area for Pereira, keeps it moving. Ring service comes in. It's flicked away by Suke. And out for another Austin corner.
And now you start to see changing the point of attack for Austin FC, making Chicago run over 15 yards into the defensive structure. Alexander Ring just gives this Austin FC a different look going forward. As he steps into that midfield, just see the ball to that back post, but it's really well defended there.
And the header comes on, it's just wide. And it's the halftime substitute, Alexander Radovanovic.
And we've been expecting such quality service from Rigoni. Doesn't need to hit it too hard. Radovanovic just beat his individual mark and help it into that far post. Just so unlucky. Up and over the bar. He does so well to create his own space inside that 6-yard box.
Seems like Chicago's barely even had to touch the ball in the second half. 10 minutes gone already.
But again, if you're Austin, you have to have that balance. As you want to overcommit and find this equalizer, you're going to throw a lot of numbers in your attacking half. So it leaves you extremely vulnerable going back the other way. We see the likes of Kamara, Gutierrez, Haile Selassie, the ability to get in behind and do it very fast. Always having a +1 in your defensive structure while in possession is going to be very important for Austin FC.
Shaqiri.
On the other side of that, Josh, if you're Chicago Fire, you have to take care of the ball, be very clean in your passing, decision making, relieve some of this pressure that you've been under since coming out of the break. Great ball.
For Gutierrez, who lets it run through, and Ring came right through the back of him. Free kick, Chicago.
And you just see the confusion between Jafal and Redes. The center midfielder has no business stepping out way too high. So you just see this big gap for Gutierrez. Give credit to Ring, though. Makes a professional foul. Comes to the backside of Gutierrez. If he has the ability to advance, there's a lot of problems for Austin FC going back. And he's been just so important. Versatility, whether it's playing on the back line, stepping into that midfield line. Alexander Ring, experience and quality. What a massive pickup he's been for this home side.
This is Shaqiri. This will bounce straight out of play. Tough angle there on the free kick, and nothing doing there for the Fire. Ring taken off the ball. It's Gaston Jimenez who shapes the cross in. It's headed away, and now it's Xherdan Shaqiri trying to catch Stuver off his line. It is out for a goal kick. Shaqiri saying it was deflected. Maybe they're changing their mind here. It's going to be a corner. Here it is again.
Just causing confusion as Stuver comes off his line and gets caught in no man's land, and it's a clear deflection as Conte comes off, closes down the space for Shaqiri. There's an argument to be had. Would have been very difficult.
Hand right up against the body.
To point to the spot there. No shots for a penalty. I think Shaqiri is arguing for a corner kick.
Gutierrez had the assist on the goal that was from a corner kick. Gutierrez whips it in again. This time it's Zardes to head it clear. Gutierrez slides it down. Shaqiri working in tight spaces, dispossessed. Pereira.
You just see how much more compact Austin FC is, whether it's playing into that front line.
Zardes trying to slip that in behind. Heels for offside. Instead it's a throw-in for Austin.
Just committing numbers in and around Zardes there, or an up, back, and through pattern play. And it all starts just with the intent from Pereira to push a tempo, making runs, been extremely active in the center of the park for Austin FC.
Trying to cut this in. Chance to shape the cross in. Schieholz there to deny it.
You can tell he's feeling it. He wants to get on the ball. He wants to be active. He wants to be the one connecting the lines for the home side. It's just been so good 60 minutes in. Nenny Pereira. And also he has this in his locker, Josh, the ability to make defenders miss and send them packing. Almost sends Suke to the ground, just lacking that last bit of quality to beat his first mark.
Like his shoelaces tied together.
It all just comes through the movement from a deep line position. What that does, it makes players have the communication to pass players off, and that's when you start to see the confusion that breaks down defensively. It's been a far better second half for Austin FC just in terms of their energy, willingness to get and beat in those half pockets. You can't have this happen.
El Selassie breaks it up, and now Shaqiri driving forward. It's 4-on-4 here for Chicago as the cross comes in. Jafal there to clear. Goni was cut off, but now it falls for Zardes. And he's striding forward. Jesse Zardes double team now and take it off the ball. There's a counter off of the counter.
Yeah, just doesn't have the support with him as he gets doubled down. Tries to go for the spectacular and split his defenders.
Looks like a yellow card will be shown. This is going against the halftime substitute, Radovanovic.
Shaqiri is just so good at drawing fouls. Might not be the most contact, but it is a rash challenge for Radovanovic. No need to step in so deep into your attacking half and leave your feet. Just ride the challenge for Shaqiri. Make him play negative. Your job's done. Now on a yellow card.
Gutierrez going to loft this forward. It's Navarro. Lost his balance. It's out of play and a throw to Austin. Comes Pereira, and nearly a loose pass as Shaqiri was bearing down on it. Pereira turning out of trouble.
Just so impressive, the ability to create separation. The first two steps, the explosiveness to pick out a pass, such a gem. Danny Pereira, and he's having himself a brilliant game.
Goni and Zardes. To the far side, Lundqvist. Long throw in for Zardes. To the far side again as the cross comes in. Too hot to handle there. Ring back for Gallagher. Stands this up. Zardes looping over the bar.
And it's always the secondary phase of an attacking play for Austin FC that causes the team's nightmares. Good ball in from Gallagher, but once again, it's such a difficult ask for Zardes as he's backpedaling to get enough power on it, to get it on target. We're good on him to play off the shoulder of Shihos.
It is Diego Fagundes coming on. Offensive reinforcements. He'll replace Rodney Redis. It will also be Brian Gutierrez coming off the field with Fabian Herbers coming on. Herbers scored what happened to be the game-winning goal in the last round to put Chicago up 2-0 in that game. St. Louis pulled one back. And for Diego Fagundes, coming into this year, he had scored the only U.S. Open Cup goal for Austin FC in that 2-1 loss against San Antonio in 2022. And here come the Fire. First touch by Herbers, a bit too heavy. Another Creighton striker joins the fray tonight.
Both attack-minded substitutions from Frank Klopas and Josh Wolf. You look at Fagundes, what he's meant to Austin FC, the ability to score goals and score assists. So he's going to play next to Zardes, the running mate on that top line. So those two are going to stay high and occupy the back four for Chicago Fire. And that's going to leave the real estate for Rigoni, for Danny Pereira to come in to the interior on their side. Fabian Herbers. Very explosive, the quality that he has at his feet to combine with Kai Kamara to sniff out half chances. So hopefully to give the visitors a sign of life and an outlet going back in the attacking phase of their game.
Forget the winner will host Houston in the quarterfinal stage in just a couple of weeks.
But those are just silly fouls. You have four players around the ball from Gallagher. No need to go in so hard. Just slow down your feet. Make Navarro make a play. Make him make a decision. You just see it's 3v3. Facing towards the corner flag, use the sideline as a defender. Now you give Chicago Fire the ability to reset.
That's what he thinks of it.
Doesn't agree with the call. Now you just give Chicago Fire the ability to reset, to gain territory and move up the field.
Pressure from behind. Jimenez looked to be a loose pass, but it comes off to the far side, and Suke El Salasi, and this one's cut out. Lundqvist going to ground.
Yeah, and they need to make that challenge. There's a break opportunity for Chicago Fire. Comes across. Last-ditch defending effort there from Lundqvist. Extremely well in reading the play.
Coming from behind, referee allows this to go on. Options up ahead. It slipped ahead for Zardes, but Ritchie had it red. And Ritchie staying down here for a moment.
He's been so good in the second half. Alexander Ring on the ball, but also sniffing out the ability to pick the pocket of Fabian Herbers. And as he tries to let this play develop, the patience, really interesting as Zardes just holds up his run. And as he does that, doesn't let him get on the end of it. I think if he just rides the line and then he breaks and plays vertically, you get on the end of it and ask questions of Ritchie. Brilliant opportunity that was from Austin FC that goes begging.
Touched along, Shaqiri looking to slide this in behind. It's Kai Kamara for Chicago. He missed it, but the flag was up anyway.
And this is extremely close. Kai Kamara off the shoulder for Cascante. It's a friendly reminder how explosive the Fire can be going back the other way. Shaqiri in the half spot. Fortunate enough for Austin FC, a bit too eager from the striker.
Fagundes turned back by Suke.
Exactly what I'm talking about, Josh. You don't want to leave yourself exposed going back the other way. The second time in a matter of 2 minutes that Chicago Fire is fine. A lot of joy in picking up second balls off the shoulder of Jafal.
Gallagher, first time ball in. Defended there by Shihos. Kamara turns it up. Still got the moves, does Kai Kamara at 38 years old. Chicago starting to get a little bit more of a foothold now after a good start to this second half by Austin. Just 20 minutes to go. Some contact from behind. Referee points for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's looking for it there from Navarro. Take a look moments ago. The close offsides here from Kamara. Just see very, very close. Maybe about a foot offside. Navarro just looking for it. There's not much there from Gallagher. There's a little push in the back, but we've been very harsh to point to the spot there.
Remember, no VAR in the Open Cup. So whatever on the field, that's what goes.
It's been sloppy for Austin FC the last 2 or 3 minutes. Whether it's in possession, whether it's defensively. So many times now Jafal and Pereira getting caught a bit too high up the field.
Herbers. Lofting it out wide, this one headed away. A substitution will be coming on, like for like. Kasper Shabilko, he'll be coming on for Kai Kamara. Shabilko already with 1 goal in this U.S. Open Cup. He scored against Chicago House, and will also be Jairo Torres coming onto the fields. 2 very important players for the Chicago Fire side. Jairo Torres has mostly been coming off the bench since coming back from injury. Just 1 start so far this year in MLS. It came back in March against New York City. It's Gaston Jimenez, the other one, being replaced. 3 subs have now been used by Frank Klopas and the Chicago Fire.
I thought Kai Kamara was excellent, just in terms of his work rate, making life just a nightmare for the center backs for Austin FC. Riding the lines, trying to get on the end of things, asking questions. Now Shabilko, he's true out number 9 target man, likes the ball to his feet, likes to get himself into 18-yard box.
Now Selassie, early ball across. Shabilko was making that back post run. And Stuver there to cut it off.
I think underrated just his movement on the back end of the field. Shabilko to get lost in the box, play off the shoulder of opponents. Many times that we've seen his run to change a secondary angle to get on in front of a defender to easy tap in. His relationship between Torres and Shaqiri, the front 3 now for Chicago Fire.
Turn Zardes, couldn't keep it. Shabilko and Shaqiri looking to slide this ahead. An opportunity for Jairo Torres. Torres off the post. It'll deflect all the way out for a throw-in. What a chance to make it 2 for the Fire.
But what a ball this is from Shaqiri. The little peek over his left shoulder, and then it's his least preferred right foot into the path of Torres. And then Torres does so well. Sets up Cascante, opens up his hips, and just ropes this thing. Just so unlucky. Off the wrong side of the post. That could have been game, set, and match for Chicago Fire. Special player standing up for the visitors.
Another cross coming in. Awkward there, now it's taken away. Navarro tries to cut this back. Appeal for handball as this trickles out for a corner.
My argument is, Josh, yes, you're pleading for a handball, but the ball's back to your feet. No need to just stop this initial action here. We'll take a look at it. Just more worried about playing the handball. To be fair, there is an extension for Cascante. It does ricochet. There is an argument to be had for the Fire to point for the spot there. I wouldn't say that's in a natural position. Trailing negates the ball back in. If you're Navarro, you can't give up on this play. The ball's back at your feet. Cascante's down on the ground.
Torres delivers. Zardes heads it clear, and a substitution coming on is Ethan Finley or Emiliano Rigoni. Remember, he had that chance from a free kick all the way back in the 2nd minute of this game. Jairo Torres slides it ahead. Xherdan Shaqiri looking. Shaqiri has it saved. Second chance, and it's put away. Kasper Shabilko scores for Chicago. It's 2 goals for the Fire, and nearly into the quarterfinals.
just so patient in their build-up, Chicago Fire. It all comes through the back end from Torres. What a run this is from Shaqiri. As you get the second bite of the apple, it's the composure that makes a difference. Everyone thinks he's going to try his luck the second time, picks up his head. We talked about the ability to get lost in the box from Shabilko. Jafal, Zardes, Finley, no rotation whatsoever. You give him the time and space from 7 yards out, he's never going to miss. Chicago Fire, what an important goal that is in the 77th minute.
Shabilko's second goal of this Open Cup. And now some distance between the Fire and Austin FC.
We mentioned it. Do or die situations and matches are all about moments. Who's going to be clinical in both boxes? And so far, it's been Chicago Fire standing up to the challenge. Shaqiri really came alive in early part of that first half, faded towards the end. But now, rebirth here. It's been so good for the Chicago Fire.
Pereira. This will just deflect out of play. Just not going Austin's way here tonight. Look at the bench, sitting next to C.J. Brown and Zach Thornton as well. Frank Klopas, of course, the winner of this competition in 1998. Fire last won this in 2006. If they can win here tonight, they'll be 3 wins away from their 5th. And that would be the most U.S. Open Cups of any MLS side. An accomplishment that would be for Frank Klopas. It's ahead for Torres. Can they really put this away now? Stuver almost caught cheating there.
I think you have to give credit to Frank Klopas. The ability to make, watch out, to make timely substitutions and have them make an impact in this game. Have your fingerprint all over the pulse of this match. Torres has been terrific since coming on. Getting on the ball, sets up Shaqiri. Runs that he's able to get in behind, and what that does, that makes Austin FC respect the ability to play into the space as they drop off. Then you start to see Shaqiri pop up in the holes. A really professional, mature performance, 80 minutes in from the Fire.
Escante having to turn it back. Offs it forward again. Richie spills it, but he's able to collect it. I always talk about this competition potentially being a springboard as we see this again.
You need more of this if you're Austin FC. Down 2-0 at home. Last 10 minutes, just pump balls into the box, cause chaos from the Fire. Test Richie, who's been widely untested. 81 minutes in. It's been a bit stagnant, pedestrian-like on the front end for Josh Wilson's boys.
Here's Pereira. This is lofted forward. Header to bring it back centrally. Failed clearance. Cheaply awarded corner kick here. We'll see if it proves to be expensive.
And once again, it's just a result. Pumping balls in inside the 18-yard box. Really asking questions.
Fagundes delivers. Good ball in. It was blocked down on the way to goal and cleared away. Nine minutes plus stoppage time for Austin to stay in this Open Cup. Ferreira. Austin continuing to probe this lofted forward and out of play. The last time the Fire made it to the quarterfinal stage was 2018. And they ended up bowing out that year in the semifinals. And this is how we've gotten here. Shihos getting the first, Shabilko the second.
Just what a terrific header this is. Up and over. Those are so difficult for a goalkeeper. And then it's all about the composure. This moment in time from Shaqiri, how many times have we seen a player get the second bite, the second phase, and just try to smash it in? Picks up his head, sees a striker widely open, and it was never going to miss. So clinical from the Chicago Fire.
Cascante, it was deflected cross coming in. Fire able to deal with this, at least initially. And now it's cleared away.
Yeah, very dicey decision there from Navarro. Try to dribble it back around inside his own 18-yard box. It's going to be a frustrating one for Frank Klopas. Just want to clear your lines and get rid of it. Get rid of danger.
Here comes the corner kick. Flicked along. Oh, what a save! Spencer Ritchie keeps Austin at bay. It's out for a throw-in. What a stop to keep the clean sheet by Spencer Ritchie.
Don't know if he knows much about it. Ethan Finley does extremely well. Gets across that near post right in front of Fabian Herbers. And talk about a terrific save off his head. One way to use your noggin there, Spencer Ritchie, to keep that clean sheet intact. Everything is going right at the moment for the Chicago Fire.
You know, the old face save.
Just like he drew it up.
By any means necessary, right? Stuver out to claim this one. Stuver still coming. Looking to play
Great
this
ball.
in behind, and it was indeed for Zardes. That may have come off his hand. Now Zardes brought down. It's a foul. Fagundes, the service comes in and it's tipped over the bar. Again, Austin right on the doorstep. Well, maybe he was just headed over. Ritchie was at full stretch.
Fagundes has given quality service that's coming onto the pitch. And it's Ring that gets on the end of it. Big time save once again from Ritchie. Takes no opportunity off the post to get on hand on it. He doesn't. Just so unlucky to Ring, wrong side of the crossbar. It's been nervy moments in the back for Chicago Fire. Twice losing their individual battles, giving Austin an opportunity to cut this lead in half.
Not much time left for Austin to salvage this one now. Nick Lima just onto the field as this one is blocked away. Looks like Kendall Burks is also preparing to come on here for Chicago. John Gallagher, who made way. That was the final sub of the game for Austin, with Nick Lima coming on. Lofted over the top and out of play. And now here is the sub, and this will be the final one for Frank Klopas and Chicago. Burks also scored in that first match of the Open Cup for the Fire against Chicago House, a 3-0 win. He's actually scored twice in that game. Tacoma, Washington native out of the University of Washington.
Defense-minded sub here as Burks is going to shift onto the right side of that back line for the Fire to see this one out. Talk about Shaqiri coming alive in this match as it grew into it. Heading on the ball, causing chaos, causing problems, asking questions, all of the above from the DP for the Fire. This quality came out in the end. He's a player that if you can get him going in terms of goals and productivity to be expected for the Chicago Fire, that can be a massive difference maker as they plug along in the 2023 MLS season.
Here's Finley trying to cut this in. Herrera too far out in front of Ring. Ring trying to recover. And this is going to be a yellow card straight to the pocket for Alex Chilowitz.
This ball gets away there from Ring. Watch out. Up and over from Shihos. Could have been a lot dangerous in a different color. That dark expose. It comes late on the ankle area. Very fortunate Alexander Ring to stay on this field.
Shihos back on his feet. Here it is again.
Ooh, yeah, you can see how high he comes as well. I think if there was VAR here in Open Cup, this could have been to the monitor, seeing a different color.
We've reached 90 minutes now. There'll be 4 more minutes left of this one. See if Austin can salvage anything from this. They need 2 goals in 4 minutes to force extra time. Pereira. It's Lima. And the cross comes in. It's punched away by Richie. Fagundes. Lofted in again. There's Richie. Through some contact, he's able to hold on to it. Big collision there. 3 players down.
It's a good idea here from Nick Lima, but we talk about Spencer Richie. Widely untested in that first half, but second half, towards the end, extremely active. And since he's come off his line, rarely put a foot wrong. Very confident goalkeeping. That's what you want of your Frank Klopas. Just decisive, not getting caught in no man's land. And that goes back to earlier when we talked about our conversation with him early in the week. Asked him what are some of the keys to be successful in this match, and he said, look, just have a clear game plan. You don't want to have any gray area between the players' ears and leave no doubt to understand this is what I expect, this is how I want to play in terms of rotation, coverage, passing patterns. And you've seen how decisive Spencer Richie has been, and all the players. I think if you're Frank Klopas, excuse me, you have to be very happy with the performance put forth here.
Well, a 2-game winning streak for Austin in MLS, at least in all competitions. It's going to come to a close here tonight. This first ever meeting between these two. Looks like it's going the way of the team from the Windy City. Very similar to how the last round went. They got the early goal in the first half. They were able to put it away in the second half, and maybe a third here, Shabilko. And this time it's saved by Stuver. Next round will be very interesting at home against Houston. As we enter the final minute, here's Lima lofting it in. Burke's able to clear it. This one nodded away once more. Suke is able to keep this one in play. And now the Fire, just not the right ball in. 40 seconds left. Here comes the cross. Zardes was there to meet it. He absorbed some contact. That's it. It'll be a goal kick and pretty much bring this to the end.
I think you have to give credit to the back three for the Chicago Fire, whether it's Schihos, Pineda, and Richie. I think in unison, moving as a collective effort. Having the confidence within those players to understand if one center back steps into that middle field, the other one has to provide the coverage. Going like to like with this attacking unit for Austin FC, never an easy task. Get a clean sheet in this hostile environment. Talked about the match congestion. What a terrific performance and result this is for the Fire.
A few extra ticks here added on due to the injury a few moments ago. Navarro, this is in behind. Navarro saved! Another chance blocked down. It's a really smart stop there by Stuver. A run out for a corner kick. The referee looks at his watch. It's all but a formality now. And the referee will bring this one to a close. Frank Klopas and the Chicago Fire moving on to the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals. The dream is still alive for a record 5th Open Cup title.
Just top class. From start to finish, back to front. You talk about being comfortable, suffering together. Not really on the ball as much as he would like, but how compacted we're keeping everything in front of them, letting Austin FC really dictate tempo, but never through them, always around them. And then when they got on the break, when they got in front of the goal, how clinical can you be in your critical situations and moments? Chicago Fire answered every single question as they march on into the final 8 of the Open Cup.
And of course, how things stand now, the Chicago Fire moved on to the quarterfinals. They will host the Houston Dynamo in 2 weeks' time on June 6th or 7th. And then a spot in the semifinals after that's up for grabs.
It's going to be extremely interesting for both of these sides. Obviously, Houston Dynamo taking this game to Minnesota United 4-0, excuse me, and then you have Chicago Fire. Talk about rhythm, talk about the ability to kickstart getting performances, getting in the rhythm, and it made no difference here for the Chicago Fire. Danny Pereira, I thought, was terrific for Austin FC, but again, it wasn't clicking on the attacking half for the home side.
A set piece there by Rigoni. That was maybe Austin's best chance in that first half, and then Rafael Schihos looping header 1-0.
He just creates separation. You just see Vaisinen unable to stay with him. Schihos up and over. Those are so tricky for a goalkeeper that they don't know if it's going over the bar. It squeaks into that back post, but set pieces were so important in this match, and also substitutions. Josh, I thought Alexander Ring in the second half, when he advanced into the center of the field, really made a difference. Not the timing there from Zardes and Ring, but Richie, terrific. Stepping off his line, timely matters. What a terrific ball. This is in for Shaqiri. I thought Frank Klopas, when he brings in his subs, they made a massive difference. Torres asking all sorts of questions as well.
And then they would add on Torres with Shaqiri. The first shot was saved. The second one was not.
But it's all about the composure, the quality. So many times when players get into situations, they get a bit frantic and make decisions. As he tries to whack this thing, the secondary picks up his head, and then Shabilko makes no mistake. It's meant to Richie, using his noggin, using every single part of his body. Doesn't know much about it. A little grim, but he was terrific in between the sticks for Chicago Fire, and well-deserved win into the next round.
I think the biggest difference here, shots on target. Chicago tested the goalkeeper. Austin really didn't.
Yeah, just, again, lacking ideas for Austin FC, getting numbers in around that 18-yard box combination play. On the other hand, for Chicago Fire, didn't really have maybe the success that they would like in terms of possession on the ball and creating chances, but once they got into that final third, they made it count and they executed. And that's all you can ask for in a cup competition. You have to be clinical, you have to be critical, and you have to take your chances when they're provided to you, and Chicago Fire did just that.
So that will do it for our coverage tonight from Austin, Texas. And the Chicago Fire are moving on to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2018. A really good performance tonight in taking down Austin FC. For our entire crew, broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long. We'll talk to you in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals in 2 weeks' time. Good night from Austin.